Hey Gabe, this is your cousin, second cousin-in-law. I don't know what I am to you. Your dad's cousin, Chris. Anyway, he was telling me that you were having you had some questions about how to do the file work on this, like the spine of your blade. So I thought I'd do a real quick video for you. It won't take long. So the first thing I do. This is just mild steel. This is just my practice stuff. This is stuff you get at like Home Depot. It's always good to practice, and so I usually have a couple pieces of this stuff lying around that I can test patterns and stuff like that on. So this is just kind of a junky steel that I'm not going to use for anything else. So the first thing you do is you want to mark it up. Now I've got this stuff on, and this is specifically made. Sorry, I'm doing everything one-handed, so it's going to get a little weird here. This is specifically made for marking steel. It's you can use a Sharpie, you can use a little spray paint, you can use whatever you got. I used Sharpie for a long time until I got this stuff. I ordered it, I think, on Amazon. But all it is just a little blue dye, and it's called Markham, I think, or Dykem steel blue layout fluid. Anyway, you don't need it. I just use it because I have it. The other thing that I use that you may or may not have are things called wing dividers. And wing dividers look like this. And there's kind of like a little compass. And you could probably use like a little compass that you have for school or for class, whatever. And the reason I do that is I can set this particular distance to whatever I want. And I use this now to mark the steel. And so what I actually do is I will just scratch like this and make my lines. And I'll put the bottom one down on the last line I made. I don't know if you can see the lines that are coming up there. And there you have it. So I got a bunch of lines, and these now become kind of my guidelines. And then what I do, first thing you got to do is you really got to make sure your desk and your benches are really, really messy. That's the most important thing. Make sure that you can't find anything. And then it's just that is the most important thing for knife making. Now again, doing this one-handed, so it's going to be a little weird. This is a chainsaw sharpening file. And it's real round. This is my small one. I've got like 4 or 5 different sizes of these. This one I don't see a size on it. It's little though. But anyway, so what I do is I start on one of these lines. And so I'm going to pick that bottom one right there. And the key is this: you don't want to go flat this way. I don't want to go 90 degrees. I want to go 90. I want to go 45. So I'm going to start here, 90. I'm going to move up to 45, and then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to tip my blade up 45 this way. And so what you end up with is a diagonal cut on that line. And so I'm going to start by just kind of pressing down right here. And you want to cut on that 90 degree, or that 45 and 45. So again, 45 up, down, 45 from here. So this is the cut you're making. What you're going to end up making is kind of like a teardrop shape in your metal. And I'll zoom in here in a second and show you once I get it cut a little bit. Now, the good thing is this is mild steel, so it cuts real easy, but check it out. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Oh, maybe if it'll focus. Nope, doesn't want to focus. Well, there it is. Okay, so you can see it's kind of that little teardrop shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it here, and then I'm going to skip a line, and I'm going to do it on the next one up. So the next one I do won't be this one, it's going to be this one. So I do the same thing, 45, 45, start my cut. And now these files will only cut when they push. They don't cut when you pull back, only when you push. The only reason you pull back and do this is just to reset it quick. But they're only going to cut on the downstroke. So it's important to really make sure that your downstroke of the file is controlled, about the same speed, and you want to stay in contact with the steel. So there you have it. Now I got 2 cuts. Can't see it still. Doesn't like to focus. Alright. So, there you have that. Now, I would do that every other, all the way down. So I did this one, skip it, did this one, skip it, do this one. And then on the other side, I did the same thing going the other way. So I would take my file, 45 and 45. Oops. It's hard going this way one-handed. And I would cut this out as well. Same cut. Same cut, same angle, and this is a little sloppy because I'm doing it one-handed, like I said, but hopefully you're going to get the idea. And so you're going to get these opposite little cuts in here, and this is called a vine file pattern. Vine, so because it's going to look like a vine here in just a second. So I got these two cuts. Kind of hard to see. There's one there. Maybe if I turn the light on here. Well, it's hard to see. Oh, there it kind of is. Okay, so I got these, and notice I try and run it about halfway across the top. See, that one's a little half. This one's not quite. I would do that one a little bit more because it's not quite halfway. So then the next thing you do, after you do this, after you do all the circles, your circle files all the way up, I'm going to get a triangle file now, a little tiny needle file, and I'm actually going to take it and just above this top lip right here, I'm going to make a little tiny nick, just right above it, to make it look kind of like a thorn. And if I can find my file, I will show you that. This one will work. Okay. So I got a little tiny, now this is just a little tiny square file. I actually have a triangle. I like triangle files better, but I can't find mine. So we're going to do this, but you'll get the idea. So right above that, I'm going to do about the same angle cut. So not flat, 45, and then 45 up. And I'm going to cut with the edge. I want to just kind of like a little tiny sliver cut. It doesn't take a lot, but it's just enough to give that little, looks like a little thorn on a vine. It's really hard to see, and I apologize. There it is. Okay. And so right here, I made just a little tiny cut, just about, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch up. And so I'm going to repeat that little tiny file cut above this one too. And again, I go right to the edge of it and just barely cut in here. And again, not being the perfect file for this, and me being one-handed, it's a little awkward, but that's how I do that pattern that you see in the thing. And you can see there's the kind of the little thorn sticking out there. And then the last thing you do is you take your files and you go through and you just round off any kind of square looking edges. So the backs of these loops, I'll kind of round those off just to make them a little bit more curved. But yeah, so you go your chainsaw file every other on both sides, and then right above each one you take your little fingernail file, your little thumbnail file, and just dig that little thorn in there. Make it real. You don't have to make it real deep, but that's how I do my file work. And yeah, that's it. And then when you're done, yeah, smooth it all out with sandpaper, and it looks real pretty.